Hello and welcome to another edition of Neighborhood Training. This week we are going to continue on the Falmouth downtown area of Falmouth. We covered the Heights, we covered the downtown area. Now we're going to cover what you might say is the backside of Falmouth Heights, but we're going to look at the Lake Leaman neighborhood. I don't know if that's what too many people call it, the Lake Leaman neighborhood, but that's what we're going to call it. And that's that area to the backside, to the north of Falmouth Heights. Kind of sectioned off between Worcester Court, Falmouth Heights Road, and Spring Bars Road, and Jericho Path. Oh, where is this thing going here? And as we see, we do have obviously a lot of the commercial development on Main Street and Falmouth Heights Road, but if you look in this neighborhood here, we'll see that it is all single-family dwellings. That's a nice part. As we've talked about each of the neighborhoods, we talked about their specific aspects of their neighborhood, and a lot of them, whether it's Mara Vista or Seacoast and all that, we say wood frame single family dwellings, capes, ranches, colonials, blah blah blah. But in other neighborhoods we have a mix. We have a mix of commercial, we have a mix of colonial, we have a mix of antique houses, we have 1800s. This area here does not have any 1800s houses in it. These are all houses that are built in the 50s and 60s, and they are all predominantly capes, but there's a lot of ranches as well. And down in this area here along Little Pond, a lot of the quaint little ranches are being remodeled or torn down, and some larger, I don't know if you call them McMansions, but some larger buildings are being built there. So it kind of gives us the layout here. I mean, it's pretty, as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. So without much further ado, we will look at the road network as it is on the GIS here. Okay, and then we have Worcester Court running up to Spring Bars, and once we get past Alma is where the business zoning starts. So we have Worcester Court runs all the way down. Of course, when it crosses Grand Ave, it becomes Worcester Ave. And through there we have Lake Leaman Road, and then we have Jericho Path. And Jericho Path is commonly cut through Jericho all the way to Elysian. Kind of cuts you around the Heights. And if you want to cut right in the middle of the Heights, you go down Jericho to Central Park Court, which becomes Central Park Ave, which is over Grand Ave. So, it was the Court, and then we have Alma Road, which is commonly a cut through. This section here is cut through quite often. Russell Road is not as much cut through, but it's quite much. Alma and Russell, and then Young Road, and then we have Raymond, Hudson, and then Lucerne. And Lucerne runs all the way across. So does Hudson, and so does Raymond. But right down the middle, you have in these areas here, you have a choice, either Jericho, Lake Leaman, or Alma, to catch these houses here. And then we have Miami that juts out in this area. As you can see, the houses are fairly close together, but they're not so close together like the Heights is, and like some of the places up in Magansett or New Silver Beach are. These are, I don't think there'll be any house-to-house communication if there was a fire. And as far as numbering systems go, there's really, doesn't seem to be any, one way to say that all the numbers start here and end up over here. So we won't even touch upon that. But what we do see is hydrants everywhere, and the hydrants are 1,200 gallons a minute. This says 243, but that doesn't sound right. 1730. So we have, at least well over 1,000 gallons, and for a ranch that is probably, I don't know, say 20 by 40, or even a 1,200 square foot ranch, we should be able to knock it down with 300 or 400 gallons a minute. Should knock it out. So that's the neighborhood there. We'll take a quick look at the town, just to confirm that we do have the pipes in the ground. If it wants to come up, there we go. There's our network of pipes there, which in this area here is the new property that the town bought, that they want to put up some housing there off of Spring Bars Road, this section here. Now and then we have some campfires back in there, and some homeless people have been along these area here. So our access points to that area, there is one access over here as you come down Spring Bars behind the Chevrolet garage. There's access in there. It's a bit sandy in here. There's also access behind the Trade Center bowl in case we need to get back in here. So that's about that. I want to just pop out a few pictures here. We talked about single-family dwellings and all of this being single-family dwellings. I kind of have a question about this place here. I mean, it's a ranch, but it's been converted, but there's 3 doors here. So that would tell me that this could be a multi-family dwelling. I see one number. I see 3 lights outside of the doors. That's usually a sign that people put these on as they're leaving and coming and going. So, and 1 mailbox. So I don't know whether it's a legal apartment, illegal apartment, or whether an apartment at all. But it's interesting. But those are the things that we need to key in on when we pull up to a building. Now, this is what's going on in this neighborhood, as well as what's going on in a lot of neighborhoods. In the back, we see kind of a 1,200 square foot, ranch. Pretty easy, access for us. Well, this is what's going on out there as well. They take the old ranch, tear it down, and build a 2.5-story, 2,500 square foot building. Changes the character of the neighborhood, and I don't know if it presents more of a fire hazard problem for us. I suppose having a second floor creates more of a hazard for us than it does. And then also, as we say, some of the smaller houses are being torn down, and places like this are being built. This isn't overly huge, but it is fairly good size on the lot anyway. So, all right, and we'll just take a quick review of the neighborhood, the Jericho neighborhood, Lake Leaman neighborhood. Wood frame single-family dwellings are predominant. There is some commercial. It's all hydrants. The wood frame, Worcester Court, Lake Leaman, Jericho, Alma Road, Russell Road, Young Road, Raymond Street, Hudson Street, Lucerne, Miami Ave, Holland, Johnson, Central Park Court, and also Benham Road. Okay, which there's Paul's Pizza on it. All right, so that about wraps up. That wraps up this week's presentation of neighborhood training. And in the meantime, stay safe and eat healthy.
And now for something completely different.
Hello and welcome to the Deputy's Office. I hope to have a weekly series that'll bring you something new as far as training. Last year, as many of you recall, we did do some new and different training situations. We did the internet-based incident command system. We also did some hands-on extrication training. We also had some pump operations training. Hopefully, some of you had some time to do some ice rescue training while we had ice in December. We try to do a few things here. Try to change the way we've been doing the training, and also to involve more people in the department to training. We've had, for years, you've had the headquarters-based training, and we've been having a difficult time reaching out to the outlying stations with training. So hopefully through the use of technology, we'll be able to combine some high-tech training through this internet-based training, but we still also want to get everybody involved in some hands-on training as well, because I know that's the type of stuff that we all strive for. But so bear with us as we work into something new in 2008. As I mentioned before, I'd like to do a weekly series, and what we'll be doing is doing some road drills in a little bit more unique and high-tech manner. Hopefully it'll work. I'm going to try and take some different neighborhoods in town and really break them down and concentrate on a specific neighborhood and work on learning the streets, the roads, the hazards, the building construction, different factors that may be involved in each neighborhood. So just bear with me. This is something new, something different. If you have any ideas, or come see me at Deputy Sullivan or Captain Small or any of the lieutenants, or shoot me an email. But hopefully this will bring something new and different, plus bring it out to everybody in the department on the same level. And thank you, and look forward to hearing from you.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Deputy's office. It's been a long time since we sat here. Matter of fact, it's been pretty close to 2.5 years since we started those videos and that idea of something completely different than we're doing at that time. It was completely different. Back in January of 2008, the early part of January, we put out the first neighborhood training series. We also put out a training series on the EMS triage tags at the same time. That was one of the very first productions, if you remember. But that was 2.5 years ago. And in that period of time, believe it or not, we have covered the entire town of Falmouth. Yeah, I'm kind of astounded too. I know at times they were boring and long, and I do know that many of you did not see any of them. My average viewing audience was about 7 or 8. But on the other hand, I did have a couple of videos that had 511 hits, and another one that had about 212 hits. So I suppose, I'll take the average somewhere in between. Well, and there was a couple that had 0 hits to the neighborhood training. So that's all right. I can take it. But we did break it down, all of Falmouth, and I hope that you gained something from breaking down the neighborhoods. I think I broke it down into 62 neighborhoods in Falmouth. And you think about it, that's a lot. That's a lot of time. It's 62 separate neighborhood training segments, but that also means there's 62 neighborhoods. Granted, we did do a session on the fair, and we did do a section on the institutions in Woods Hole. But I do think those are neighborhoods in and of themselves. So we broke it down, and I think you can see, looking back on it, that there are neighborhoods. Different neighborhoods have different style houses. Some have older houses, newer. I think the really thing that I wanted to focus on was some of the basic tenets of firefighting, right? Construction, occupancy, area, and also looking at the square footage of the building and what our fire flows are. And we're just so drummed up into the same thing of going to a single-family home for a fire that we could get tripped up very easily going to a multi-family house or a motel or a commercial building. So we just need to think about that. Look for the different clues that the building presents to us. You're looking for multiple family dwellings, you have multiple electric meters, multiple doors, multiple mailboxes, different things like that. Look at the construction. Is it wood frame? I know we saw a couple of residential homes that were actually steel framed. We've seen some that are stone. We've seen some that single family homes that actually just have a facade, like a brick facade on it. We've seen different types of roofs. We've seen some slate roofs. We've seen some of the new style metal roofs. So, and we've talked about asphalt shingles. We've also talked about wood shingles roofs. We've talked about old style construction, new style construction. Areas of town, if you remember, there are areas of town where the houses don't have any basements, by and large, mostly. And that's out in the Edmar area. And, so those are the things that, that we should be looking for. And we also, keyed on the fact that length times width divided by 3 is the fire flow, roughly, for a fully involved structure. So, length times width only gives us the square footage. So if we look at a house, and we've looked at quite a few of them, some of them, we look at small ones, 600 square feet. We can talk about 1,000 square foot. A lot of ranches around here, 1,200 square foot. Capes, oversized capes and colonials, so forth, can get up to 2,500 square feet. And then, of course, we have these 10,000 square foot single-family home up in Ballymead. And then we also look at the commercial dwellings and roughly the size of those. So, that kind of just recaps where we are. I can't believe that, we've gone through the whole entire town of Falmouth. It seemed like a very daunting project when I first started. But we just kept working our way through it. And since then, we have added, as we mentioned, something completely different in training, and we did that. We also have a lot of pre-plans coming out on a weekly basis. We also have a monthly training focus, and of course the videos. And we didn't just do neighborhoods on the videos. We did the triple load. We did brush fire training on that. We did Captain Small's foam, very good foam series on that using a different apparatus. We also had some ground ladder training. We had an old video from Randy Sherman's class way back when that was kind of not one of the best productions, but it was something that we learned we could do, is convert video to digital media. So we did add a lot to it, and we did reach the goals that I mentioned earlier. We needed to reach everybody in this department. Training at one time was really just mainly focused for the people at headquarters. Since that time, I think we've really pushed it out, and so it's available to everybody in the station. I understand everybody's not partaking of it, and you're not getting the training. Well, too bad for you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of good information out there, and it really doesn't take that much time to go through it. So, and I think I do this, a lot of it for your safety, but also for the people that call us on 911, and they expect us to know this stuff to the best of our ability. So, where do we go from here? Well, I think we're going to continue with the pre-plans for sure. We're going to continue with hands-on training like we did at the Ideal Spot Motel. And we're also, I hope, going to try to get into connecting all the stations up with webcams. And we've talked about that before. I've done some recent experiments with Skype, and that's worked out very good. I've been pleased with that. Initially, it wasn't so good, and now it's pretty good. And so we can connect the stations together with webcams, and we can hold a drill in headquarters or any of the stations. One of the officers, perhaps, Lieutenant Gerard, could put on a training on the dive truck and the diving equipment, and we can have webcam on that and get that to all the stations. Or even in the morning, perhaps, when Lieutenant Thrasher does his kind of briefings that he does here at headquarters, we can do that to all the stations at once. So, and that's, through the net meeting, that's a real viable medium to use right now, is the net meetings and also the webcam. So I hope that's where we're able to go. Now, all this training we've done with the video and with the pre-planning has been zero cost. I haven't been allocated any money from the training budget to do this. The camera that I use here has already been bought for the EOC. All of the programs that I used to file share, if you will, and produce these videos have been no cost. Windows Movie Maker, this other product called Camtasia, which is a screen capture, and whether the SlideShare program for the PowerPoints, or whether initially it was the Google Video, zero cost. So, could it be better if we put some money into it? Sure, but we made it happen with no cost. And I think if you remember in the very beginning, we even had dial-up at some of the outlying stations, so that was an obstacle we had to overcome. So, well, that's about it. I don't want to go on and on, but I will just finish up by saying thank you for working along with this. I know a few of you have emailed now and then that the video wasn't that good, or was too long, or even when we had the prizes, the Dunkin' Donuts gift certificate for emailing me with the title, song title for the introduction. And I know some of the videos lately, I've been having little quizzes in there, so hopefully we'll try to get a little feedback on that, just to try to make it interesting. So, we'll see where we go from here. I thank you once again for working along with me with this, and we'll see where it goes. Until I meet you again, stay safe and eat healthy.